real story of America's war on terrorism begins with the Iranian Revolution in 1979. It was a broad-based revolution against the American-supported dictator, the Shah Reza Pahlavi, who had been installed in power by a CIA-backed coup in 1953. Now, the American people, when they think about the Iranian Revolution, usually conflate the revolution itself with the hostage crisis that actually didn't break out until 10 months later, after Jimmy Carter was convinced to allow the Shah into the United States for cancer treatment, which caused a riot and the seizing of those hostages. Importantly, the Reagan campaign and the CIA made a secret deal with the Iranians to hold those hostages longer in order to weaken Carter and secure the election of Ronald Reagan in a scandal known as the October Surprise, a relationship which later grew into the Iran-Contra scandal as well. Also in 1979, the Carter administration embarked on a policy of covert support for the Mujahideen of Afghanistan, fighting against the Soviets' communist puppet government in Kabul. They did this with the express purpose of attempting to lure the Soviet Union into invading Afghanistan. The thinking was, since the American people had the so-called Vietnam syndrome and didn't want to fight any more proxy wars to contain Soviet communism, perhaps they could, as they put it, give the Soviets their own Vietnam. A horrible no-win quagmire that breaks the bank and divides the society back home. And so with this express purpose, they supported the Mujahideen beginning in the summer of 1979. By Christmas, the USSR did invade, whether in direct reaction to that support or not, and proceeded to fight a decade-long war there that killed as many as 1 million Afghans. In response to the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, Carter not only stepped up support for the Mujahideen, but announced the Carter Doctrine of American military supremacy in the Persian Gulf, under the supposed threat that the Soviets could invade Iran next and come to dominate Middle Eastern oil supplies. So the Carter administration announced that any attempt by any other power to dominate the Persian Gulf would be considered an attack on the United States itself. As part of this, they increased support for Saudi Arabia and began installing military bases around the Arabian Peninsula, as well as gave the green light to Iraq's Saddam Hussein to invade Iran. You see, Saddam Hussein had his own Shiite revolutionary problem. He was sitting on a secular government dominated by Sunnis ruling over a 60% Shiite Arab majority. And he was afraid that the Iraqi Shia would choose their religious sect over their national and ethnic sect. So to preempt that danger, he conscripted them all and sent them to invade Iran, an attack which failed to overthrow the Shiite revolutionary government in Tehran and instead led to a World War I type stalemate war and also led to the deaths of approximately 1 million people, half on each side. And this is where Ronald Reagan's administration picked up from Jimmy Carter in 1981. Check out my writings at antiwar.com, my show at scotthorton.org, the Libertarian Institute at libertarianinstitute.org, and my books, Fool's Errand, Time to End the War in Afghanistan, and Enough Already, Time to End the War on Terrorism, at enoughalreadybook.net.